going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to another edition of the Transfer View. Yes, happy Friday. It's match day as well. Manchester United's FA Cup campaign begins tonight at Old Trafford against Everton. But first, we have plenty of transfer news, discussion, gossip, rumours to get into this morning. We're going to be talking a little bit about Joao Felix. There's no Marcel's a disgrace. Did you hear that straight away? Wow, that might be a record. That might be a record straight into the show already. Fine system in place. We're going to talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho because Erik ten Hag has spoken quite openly, actually, about Jadon Sancho, about his individual training program, about his return. We know that Sancho is back at Carrington at the moment, when he's expected to be back in the first team action, all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about that. Jack Butland is expected to be confirmed on a loan deal today. Fabrizio Romano tweeting last night that is the case. We're going to open up on that because, of course, Marcel loves everything goalkeepers. Dubravka out, Butland in. Oh, it's a perfect show for Marcel to be here. And also a possible centre-back signing that talks are beginning now, but it could happen in the summer. So plenty to get into. Marcel, you enjoying this Friday so far?
Yeah. Obviously, Everton later on tonight. So looking forward to it. Always, on a match day, buzzing, looking forward to the game. And just excited about the transfer window speculation, all the news that's happening right now. Hopefully something can get done in terms of a forward player.
Here's hoping, certainly, as well. You never know. Anything's possible. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UB Members Club too. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, your emojis, your priority chat, your exclusive members-only content, UV Raw, the Marcel De Gea debate coming soon. Oh, forget Avatar. This is going to smash box office records. Marcel's De Gea discussion that I've already heard so much about is coming in the future. But first of all, let's talk about Joao Felix, because I know feels like this ongoing saga already. Marcel, only 6 days in to the January transfer window, and already we're still talking about Joao Felix. Is it too much? Isn't it too much? Well, the latest development coming from Matteo Moretto, which is a journalist, I think, based in Italy or Spain as well, saying that in the last few hours, Manchester United have accelerated its intention to sign Joao Felix and have launched a first proposal through Jorge Mendes until June for €4 million and the full salary of the striker. Atletico, though, as we spoke about yesterday, are asking for triple this amount, between 12 and 13 million, to let him leave. Joao Felix will only leave if the conditions are what Atletico actually want. As far as United, though, they've said no, that we're not going to pay that amount. Joao Felix has told his agent, though, Jorge Mendes, again and again, he's not happy under the orders of Diego Simeone, and he does want to leave. We kind of spoke about this yesterday, so we're not going to focus too much, I guess, on the fee, Marcel. But I mean, 12 to 30 million plus full salary. We're looking at what, like 20 million total package. That's just too much, isn't it, for a 6-month loan with no obligation to buy as well?
Yeah, difficult. They're playing hardball. I know we were talking about before, it potentially just have to wait this one out, see if something can get done towards the back end of the transfer window. I think Joao Felix most probably wants to leave. The style of football that he's playing at Atletico is no good for him, I don't think. And let's just see if we can be clever in terms of negotiating this deal. Like, I agree with you. I mean, it was touted before, we only had 20 million left in the kitty anyway, in terms of what's left from the budget. I mean, we've just gone and spent whatever we have on Jack Butland, bringing him into the club. That's an expense. So, if you add that plus maybe Joao Felix, I think, you need to be a bit more reasonable, or I would say Atletico need to be a lot more reasonable in terms of the price, especially when it's that much of a fee, and then, we're not even being able having the option to buy.
No, I agree. I think, do you think anyone would pay that, though? I mean, me and Flex were talking about this yesterday. Like, obviously, United are certainly a different kind of circumstance because we genuinely don't have the money to pay that. But even a club that would, i.e. An Arsenal, maybe a Chelsea, do you think even they would say, like, that's too much? I mean, you saw Chelsea last night. Let's face it, they're desperate now for attacking options, certainly. So you couldn't rule it out. I don't think you could rule it out. But that just feels way too much. I can't see, unless a club's purely panicking and caving to that, I can't see getting someone on loan for 20 million with having no option to buy at the end of it as well. I mean, it would make sense to have, okay, we're going to give you 20 million now, and then in the summer, there's like an obligation for like 80, because it is Joao Felix. That would kind of make a bit of sense, because you go, okay, you've already taken the 20 off the 80, you get to 100. But just for 20, we're just going to have them for 6 months, then they'll go back. And then we have to negotiate possibly £100+ million or euro transfer fee. That just seems astronomical. And again, I know that, as United fans, sometimes people say, it's not your money. Why are you counting pennies? It doesn't matter. Just get it done. But if we sign Joao Felix, this was a point before too. If you sign Joao Felix for 20+ million on loan for 6 months until June, and he didn't work out, could you imagine the scrutiny involved in that? With people saying how terrible business that would be. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. To that second point for sure, it doesn't make sense if it's a failure. I wouldn't want to think within that parameters, but you're definitely right. I think if you go and spend that much money, knowing that the budget's around 20 million, apparently, knowing that that's the majority of your budget, and now you lose all of that, and you got a Joao Felix that isn't firing. A lot of people saying he's a bit of a makeshift forward, so he could have been moving from position to position throughout that time and not really performing. It's not a good look, but just in terms of the fee, of course, I think the wages is to do with obviously the agent and the player, whereas that 13 million transfer fee, if you just look at that in itself, I think there's something to look at there. It maybe is not that expensive for a different club other than Manchester United. We've got the financial constraints, but another club maybe doesn't mind seeing it as, okay, we're going to pay wages, and that's just to do with the player, and then the fee itself is only going to be maybe 12, 13 million or euros, whatever it will be. I do still think that's expensive though, if you haven't got an obligation to buy at the end of that. So I agree with you there as well, just in that first point that you're making, because it just doesn't make any sense. I think he's a very talented player, extremely talented player,
and you'd love to have him, wouldn't you? I mean, make no mistake. I think if United did sign Joao Felix under the right circumstances, we'd celebrate that kind of signing, because he's a great player. Played against us last season. He was brilliant against us last season. But at the same time, it would just be silly. It would just be silly business, especially at a time which we just don't have the money. So that, again, I guess it kind of leads on to the next thing, which is what we have been linked to in terms of striking options. And you said it earlier on that you're hoping we can get a striker in January. It's going to be difficult, and chances are it probably won't happen. But what we have seen, certainly the links to in the last few days, have been these players that have been 6 months left on their contract, so we could get them for a low-cost fee now, or possibly even a free transfer now. Those kind of names like Olivier Giroud, like Memphis Depay, like Marcus Thuram. Are there any names there that actually excite you or think could be an actual possibility for us in January?
I mean, all of them can be a possibility. I think Ten Hag's able, we've seen it even with the likes of David De Gea. Well, not even, he's been fantastic, David De Gea, but we've seen players develop. We've seen players develop under Ten Hag. So I think if he brings someone in and can see the attributes, or can see that he can get another level out of the player, then I'm more than happy to have them part of the system and part of the club. Just in particular, though, I think Memphis maybe and Thuram, are the two that you maybe want to take out of that bunch, out of that three that you mentioned there. I would say Moukoko though, for Borussia Dortmund, someone that's also maybe got 6 months left in his contract, a younger player as well. I think fabulous talent. I think that's somebody that we maybe got to look at, and especially towards the summer as well. Agent, but Thuram is someone, if you can get a good price for him, 10 million euros. I've been looking around, seeing 10 million euros for him, around that region. Who else is there? Obviously, Giroud, I think, is a bit too old. I think, a lot of people would say, he's a bit too old.
Age. You're not feeling the Giroud age.
Yeah, we could see in the World Cup, though, innit? You was covering all the World Cup games, and you would know better than me. I think his pressing wasn't brilliant, that he can't do the relentless press that I think is required. It's almost like another Tony Marshall in a sense, but just a bit more of a target man, focal point 9. So I don't know, if I think he's maybe short of quality in that sense. But again, someone you can trust and rely on. And then Memphis has already had his opportunity here. He's already had his opportunity here to try and prove if he's got the quality and the ability. But then again, it's Ten Hag magic, man. I think he's really been able to get the best out of players that you just don't think can do it. So you never know, and I'd just like to back him. Like I'm saying, the most important thing I think is just getting a footballer in the door now. Martial looks like he's a bit heavy. Like, he's got so many games to play, and he's going to be playing again. We just need someone else in, man.
Yeah, it was funny actually yesterday with Ten Hag speaking about Martial, when he was asked, because he went off against Bournemouth and went straight down the tunnel, and the assumption was, oh, here we go again, he's injured. And Ten Hag said, no, he's available to play against Everton. He wasn't injured. It's just a case of, I can't risk him. So I just don't want to, because the question was, why hasn't he played 90 minutes? And Ten Hag said, well, he can play 90 minutes, but logically, if United like 2-0 up, even 1-0 up, and it's like the 65th minute, 70th minute, he's going to come off, because we know his record. We know how that is. And If the manager knows that, and if the manager is actively wrapping up a player as much as he can in cotton wool, even that's almost like a bit of a hint of I need more. I
Yeah,
need more in that position because I know I can't rely on this game to play 90 minutes every single week, or at least every single Premier League game. I just can't rely on that.
yeah.
So I
What?
think to your point, there might be a deal to be done, maybe where it is like, Turam, or maybe it is Memphis. I'm not sure. There does feel like there's a deal to be done. I think also the difficult thing with it is that because it would be like a short-term stopgap, you do have to somehow try and look at which option has the best sort of longer term sort of potential to it, because
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
person isn't going to come in, you'd think, on a 6-month deal. They'd probably want to come in on, say, 18 months to the end of next season. And you go, okay, which one of those players could actually be an option to us next season? We don't want to be in a position whereby they come in, they do okay, we get to the summer, and then it's like we don't even want that player anymore. It's a nuisance to us, but he doesn't want to leave. Then you have to look at maybe like a Thuram or a Depay and go, would they be an option for us next season? And I think in the case of both of them, they probably would be. I'd be happy to have them on the bench next season, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And just on that though, what do you think about the drop in quality, or who can really replace Tony Marshall up front? Because I'm thinking about Elanga when he came on the other day. It wasn't good enough, I think, Owen, and I think that's the alarm signs. That's why he's maybe given Tony Marshall gets 70 minutes and off you go. I've got to hook you off because I need you fresh. And the drop in quality, once he comes off the pitch in that forward line
Mm.
position, it's quite alarming, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, because basically at the moment, isn't it, like you say, if Martial comes off or he's injured, it means that Rashford's going to play up front. You would think, and yet the other day he brought Elanga on. Elanga was through the middle a bit. He's not a striker, nowhere
Yeah.
near a striker. Rashford would be your next best option. The problem is Rashford is playing so well on the left and on the right that you don't
Mm,
want to sacrifice that, because he really is not the only one, but he's the one who's driving a lot of goals in the team, and he's the one that's probably the biggest attacking threat out of that front three at the moment. So you don't want to jeopardize that by playing him in his almost least comfortable position, but a position that he might have to play. So I think Ten Hag would be aware of that too, that if Martial does get injured, you almost sacrifice Rashford by proxy, and that's the
yeah.
problem too. So, but I just honestly though, Marcel, as time goes on, again, I had a bit, not a lot, but I had a little bit of optimism coming into the January transfer window that I thought, I knew we didn't have a lot of money. We did that. I remember that morning view show that we did when we sort of went through all the numbers, and we went, oh, we don't have a lot of money. But the feeling was, oh, well, but we'll get like Cody Gakpo. And then once that deal
Yeah,
didn't happen, and it was then revealed that United were really never at the table in terms of really submitting an offer, in terms of really putting money on the table, because there's no money to put on the table, I had to temper my expectations because of it. And that's what it's been since. And the reports have kind of reflected that since, that if we do any business, it's going to be real cut price business. And I do think, you would hope certainly, United would have learned from the mistakes from the past, whereby we've got stop gaps that really just haven't worked out, and then they've become a problem. They've actually become a problem because then when you want to move them on, or this time next season, they're just another player that's on the wage books, and you're like, oh, what are we going to do there? So I do think there is a reason not to be so just, we got to get anyone. Because I think if we go down the route of we just got to get anyone, that won't benefit Manchester United ultimately. As Ten Hag says, it's got to be the right person, not just a person, the right person.
No, I agree. I agree with you. It's a very smart decision, I think, especially short term and long term. Like we was talking about, 18 months down the road, you just don't want someone like Giroud that's going to hinder the progress and that kind of thing. And I do understand that. It's just I'm just in panic stations in terms of pursuing that top four. I think it really does hinder
Mm.
us. I think we suffer massively. We've got so many games. Then we've got the Europa League front to fight on against Barcelona. And if you don't have that quality player or just legs in there that can just give push maybe Martial or beyond Martial's abilities, and give Martial a couple games rest, just a couple games rest where he can be as fresh as possible so that we can fight on as many fronts as possible, because it's going to be so difficult the second half of the season. But honestly, I believe in Ten Hag. I believe that he can balance it well. He's rotated the last game. Hopefully, he can keep rotating.
It's funny though, because as the games do go on this month, and as other teams also around us drop points or pick up points or whatever it may be, it does, like, the January window then takes on this new life, this new identity, because the way the season feels like anyway, and again, come the end of January, we'll have a really good look at this, but the way
Mm.
it feels like this season is taking shape, you would go, actually, if we did do business in January, it might actually really spur us on into
Yeah.
something
KG
more than we
vibes.
expected.
KG
Well, no,
vibes.
no. Well, that's where I was going. That's where I was going, Marcel. I was going to ask you. You've seen obviously what KG's been saying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He says, I asked him, "Are we in a title race?" He said, "100%." He was like, "You, 100%,
Mm.
100%." He said, "Are we in a title race in your mind?"
And to be fair to KG, he was talking about this before. You've had him backed in a corner before, saying, "Listen," and months ago, saying, "Listen, if we get a striker, are you gonna say that we're going to be in the top four?" And I think true to his word, I think he has been true to that. So, and you need hope as a fan and as a supporter of the club. We're all supporters and fans of the club. I think I'm a big advocate of that. Supporting the team and I'm believing in the team, always being optimistic. But I just think the way that Arsenal are playing right now, I would love for us to get points. So we have to see what happens in January 1st, Owen. I think we push through City and at home we're a fortress and we have to get a good result there. But it's all about that Arsenal fixture right now. Obviously they've been hindered by that Newcastle result. I think they got a draw there. But
Yeah,
if we can pick up points, man, and I think they got Spurs coming up as well. If they can lose
yeah,
there, the picture looks a lot brighter for us. And I would say, and then if we can get a body in, yeah, I'll definitely on KG bandwagon, the bandwagon, and I'll definitely believe that we can definitely get maybe second or first for sure. But it's the things need to be in place, and then you got to look at the competition. Have they added sufficiently? It's very, like you said, man. There's a huge story to be told in this January window alone.
yeah. No, I agree. Like you said, I'm very much on the hype of KG. Of at the end of January, if things go the right way, then why not? But there's a
Mm,
lot of things to happen between now and then. Look, we've got
yeah,
two cup games first. So, as I said yesterday to Flex, if we go out two cup competitions before we play City, that game looks completely different as well. So there's still lots to happen, but you never know. Come the end of the month, if we won all the rest of the games towards the end of January, then you would say, look, why not? Why
yeah.
not? But who knows? We're not going to go that far just yet. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Got over 700 people watching. Less than 100 likes. We can get to 150 easy. We can get to 200. I can
I,
snap
rem-
my
I remember the,
fingers.
I remember the days when it used to be 50% or nothing. It used
Well,
to be like
exactly.
350.
We need to be like Ten Hag, start setting, standards, discipline. That's what we're going to be doing as well. Also, Josh, as well, whilst they're hitting that like button, let's see how reckless the UV community is feeling this morning. Are we in a title race? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you agree
yeah.
with KG? Are we in a title race? I think I might know the answer. But look, there probably are going to be some reckless delegates in the chat this morning, so we'll have to wait and see with that as well. I do want to talk about Jadon Sancho. I think this is probably the most actually that Eric Ten Hag has spoken about Sancho since really him going on his individual training program, since going to the Netherlands and training with that amateur club. So yesterday in his press conference prior to the FA Cup match tonight, it was in the second half. It was in the embargoed part at 10:30. He was asked about Sancho, and Ten Hag actually gave quite a few answers, saying, quote, "I would like to have Jadon back as soon as possible, but also in this, I can't force this process, and so I will do everything that's in my power, but some processes you can't force, and this is one of them." He continued saying, "I have to show patience, although I don't have the patience. We have a lack of opportunities in the front line, players who are available and capable to contribute in the Premier League, not only the Premier League, but the highest standard up top of football. Jadon is one. When he is fit, he will contribute, and then we will have an extra option, and so we will have more chance of winning a lot of games. We have some hurdles to take, but I think he's in a good direction. And what I say, I can't force this process, and so I don't do it. But I would be really happy when he returns to the squad for team training. So that will be the next step. In this moment, he is not fit enough. No, I said physical, but physical is also the connection with mental. But I think he is now making good progress on the physical part, and that will help him. I hope he can return quickly, but I can't say a duration. He was in the Netherlands, but also the process could have been in England as well. But the good thing is that he is back in Carrington, and that shows he is making progress and he is ready for the next step. I think many top athletes in football and also in other sports, sometimes it's good to go away from the place where you're at daily to get a new vibe and a new experience. People have a different approach, and this can give you the right push to get back on track. Football players aren't robots. No one is the same. I think for everyone, you need an individual approach. We thought that in cooperation with Jadon, it was the best choice. So it was really spoken a lot there, actually, about Sancho, about the situation, saying that, and I think it's also good that he still has yet to really publicly say the issue, because I don't think that needs to be said. But basically what he's saying there is, Physically, he's not fit enough just yet, but physical is connected to the mental. I like that when him saying
Yeah,
that if you get yourself physically ready, mentally that will come in line as well. Saying that, I think, and he's right. Everyone's different, and everyone needs an individual approach, and that's the best thing. And this is kind of something that's been a sort of talking point, Master, hasn't it? I guess over the last sort of few years with social media and top tier athletes and people saying, wow, if I was paid this amount, I'd be there every single week, blah, blah, blah. And people always say, well, again, everyone's different and you can't get inside someone's head. You don't know what people are going through. I think the positive thing out of this is that, as Ten Hag said, yes, he wants him back as soon as possible, but he understands he can't rush this process because it is just that. It is a process. It's going to take time. And ultimately, they're supporting Sancho in the best way they can.
Yeah. Very, very well handled by Eric Ten Hag for me. Critical in his analysis as well. He's a little bit of a counterbalance there, saying, "Listen, I can't wait. Even though I need to wait, I really can't. I need players right now. And it's a difficult situation for him as well because the player right now is, like we're saying, is mentally maybe not as focused as he should be, and we've been seeing, game by game, physically, doesn't look 100%, in tip-top shape as he was before in Dortmund days anyway." So this is a bit of a peculiar situation, but I think Ten Hag again has been able to deal with these kind of man management, player management kind of things, very, very well. This is maybe just one of those things that he just has to wait. He said it's a process and humans are different. Don't want to speculate too much, but that bumper wager contract that he got, 300 and something K, from the Dortmund wages, maybe it gets the players' heads a little bit sometimes, or then just derail their focus. But I think this is the kind of right thing to do, put him away from everything and just get him back focused, locked into what he needs to do as a player, and he'll come back stronger for sure. I think, he's one of those players, that proper players that have kind of dipped in form from obviously the World Cup misses, or was it the Euro misses, the penalty misses? I think it was him, Saka, Rashford, and obviously Saka and Rashford have gone leaps and bounds. But I think Sancho's next in line for that, and just needs to focus. I think he's gone a very huge fall from grace. At the beginning of the season was good, goals against Liverpool, Leicester, and played well in those games as well. So, and in the Euros as well. So I think there's a lot of positive signs. It's just, this is very peculiar, and he's done the right thing. He's protected the player, hasn't really opened his mouth about anything or been disrespectful in the media. And the player better repay him when he comes back, because we need him back right now. I'm talking about panic stations, or a little bit of panic stations for me personally, in terms of we just need an extra body in. And he's one of those that can do that now. And we've lost Donny. We've just lost Donny now. That was the rotation in the 10 area for Bruno. And a lot of people are saying Sancho can play in the 10. And I believe that he could maybe contribute there as well. So we need him back as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that, again, I agree. I think he's handled that like he's handled everything, Eric Ten Hag, frankly, at United so far, really, really well. I think that he speaks really well there, where he says, of course I want him back. Because it's not as if he's sort of taking subtle digs at him for being away, going, oh, you've let us down, or we could really use you right now. He's going, of course I would want him here. But at the same time, we feel this is the best approach for him. We feel that he's on the right track, because if he wasn't on the right track, he wouldn't be here at Carrington. The fact that he's back at Carrington and he's back doing this individual training regime here with us, that's positive. The next step is for him to be in team training. We hope to get him back in team training. He has also said, look, I can't give you a time on duration. So those that are expecting Sancho to even be involved for City, probably too soon. Arsenal, you would still say, maybe still too soon. Maybe it might be in February. We don't know. But I think the positive thing out of that is, like I said, that he's back. It's still an ongoing kind of process, and he's handled it really well. And that they've acknowledged that, because football's such a cutthroat business, and because it's so results driven, and especially as the Manchester United manager, you need to be winning, because if you're not winning, the pressure's on and you never know what could happen. Other managers, lesser managers, or lesser human beings, frankly, could have just forced Jadon Sancho to keep playing. Sorry, mate, we know you need time away, but we just need you playing. There are injuries, there's stuff going on. We pay your wages. We're going to throw you out on the pitch. We know you don't really want to be there, but we're just going to do it anyway. And what would that do to him? That would make things only worse. And Ten Hag's taken a step back, in my opinion, and gone, look, yes, we could need him. Yes, we're light on the ground anyway, but we've got to do what's best for the player. Yes, in the short term, but also in the long term. You want Jadon Sancho to have a long, prosperous career at United. You want him to be successful for the next decade or so. People forget he's still such a really young guy. Yeah. So what's the point in running him into the ground right now where clearly he is in a difficult moment? The best thing you can do if you're a manager is support him. The best thing you can do if you're a club is support him. And it's the same for the fans. The best thing and the only thing really we can do is support him. And when he does come back and we does step on the pitch, you cheer for him, you support him if he posts on social media, do whatever it may be, and I think that's what the club's doing right now. And again, I think it's a difficult situation that actually the club, and I know sometimes it's not popular to praise the club for how they operate, but I think it is a situation where they have handled this really well. And to your point, here's hoping when he does come back, we do see a different version of Sancho, or the version of Sancho that we thought we were buying from Dortmund. Because I think people forget about that too, is you look at his stats, those like last 2 years at Dortmund were really, really good. There's a reason we chased this guy for 2 years. There's a reason we spent a lot of money. There's a reason he's on the wage that he's on, is because at one point we thought he was worth that, So the hope is that we get that player back. But I do think that United and Ten Hag need to be commended on how they've handled that.
Yeah. He's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. I mean, he's with all sorts of players and with all sorts of things going on. Garnacho with the discipline. Donny van de Beek just being again very critical, very honest in the way that he's talking about the player. Listen, if you're not going to be able to step up, you have to be moved on. It's a simple part of the process. That's a player that he used to manage and coach. So he's just been fantastic, and it's just testament to him. It would be funny though if he, because the media's been trying to chime in on him, after the first 2 games of the season. It would have been interesting to see if we maybe weren't doing as well and this kind of decision was taken, and would he be able to take these kind of decisions in difficult moments like that? If we were 6 or if we're suffering like how Chelsea are, for example. It would have been interesting to see if he does take that decision. I mean, Ole kind of not in a similar way. In a similar way had utilized Marcel like that, kind of ran him into the ground when he was injured and not able to play games all the time. So would Ten Hag have done the similar thing maybe to Sancho, while he's not mentally there and physically there? Would he have just kept playing him? So, a bit of a decision process there to go by, but I think he's just been fantastic, the manager.
No, I agree. We've got nearly 1,200 people watching. Still less than 200 likes. We're 30 away from 200. So if you haven't already, click the like button. We can get to 250. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in the chat as well. Some of our membership priority chat. Ed here, one of our members, says, we saw this with Ousmane Dembele. 4 years of struggling on and off the pitch. Now the last 18 months, he's been back to their most crucial player. If he can bounce back, so can Jadon. See what else people are saying as well. Dilva's saying Dubai is coming. Oil me up. I don't know. I mean, the thing is with that whole like the takeover stuff, Marcel, is at the moment it's still just at the stage where you just see these sort of weird pictures on social media, don't you? And people go, "Oh, see." I don't. As far as I'm aware, we still don't have any concrete news. Just these sort of weird rumors, and weird sort of in the know.
We've got a dream, innit? We've got a dream. We've got a dream, Owen. And I think it's not maybe Dubai. I think Dubai and Abu Dhabi are quite closely linked in terms of politically. So I think might be a conflict of interest potentially, but private consortium for Saudi, Kuwait, another Middle Eastern entity that haven't actually invested in the UK in terms of football clubs. So they're a very possible option as well. But I think anyone from the Middle East, I think that that kind of region they're trying to become the best. They have ego. They want to be the best of the best of the best, and that will help a club, a massive global entity that is Manchester United. We've already got the commercial side, but we just need owners that really want to push and get us to succeed at the top. And I think no wonder people are excited about the Middle Eastern entities.
Wizard says United were setting up the team for a transition to Ten Hag, for example, Sancho, but Sancho doesn't have a position in the team. Do you think it is a case with Sancho that he might actually just struggle to fit into the system? Or because we were saying he might have been one of the players that actually would thrive under Ten Hag.
Yeah. And we were saying, and he looked brilliant in pre-season. Okay, yes, it is pre-season, but he looked brilliant on the right. We was having debates upon debates. Is he a left-sided player? Is he a right-sided player? It wasn't about whether he's going to fit into the team or not. That wasn't what our debates was. It's which side he's going to contribute for us and add his brilliant assisting ability and his ability to dribble on the ball. But it's a good question. I feel like there's still a vacancy for him in the 10 area, and I still feel like Ten Hag will find him a position and get the best out of him. There's still so much developing to do. Like to your point before, he's still so young. He's not anywhere near his prime. He's not, he hasn't mastered the game yet, and he's got to learn a new system under Ten Hag. So And then Garnacho comes into play as well, so dynamic, so aggressive, so strong. So you're just seeing a whole different level of player now, and that speaks to the kind of play we saw how Ryan Giggs came into the scene, consistent straight away at a young age. You kind of want someone like that to come in, and Sancho's been a little bit short of that.
The polls in the chat as well, over 400 votes, been up for about 10 minutes or so. And the question was, are we in a title race? And the answers are 41% say yes, 59% say no. So at the moment, the majority is saying, no, we're not in a title race. But to be honest, there's more than I thought. There's more than I thought saying yes than no. And I think that just, you know what, Marcel, that just speaks, as an eternal optimist yourself, that speaks to the optimism surrounding United at the moment. And we were saying this yesterday, like, if people want to believe, let them believe. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nowadays, we get through social media, people can say, oh, I think United can challenge for the title. And you get responded with, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about, this, that, and the other. And you go, okay, but who are we to tell people what to believe when it comes to Manchester United this season? The best thing is that at the moment we're winning games. There's positivity surrounding the team, the manager. And let's face it, whilst it's uncertain, the future of the club, because you think, well, the current owners are going to be gone soon. So again, there's plenty to be positive about, isn't there?
Oh, it's more power to any fan that is supporting the club in this way. The Glazers are leaving. I think that's a massive, massive turning point of this year. I think someone has mentioned it. That's a key thing. And that's if it's that alone this season, that's something to be joyous about anyway. So, and then the football that we've been blessed with this season, it's been really good. I can remember, I keep going back to it. At the beginning of the season, people just wanted to see good football. 6th and 5th, 7th is what we were predicting. And now we're in and amongst it, and we're playing good football. It's a complete change of style, and it just looks so good, and the fortress that is Old Trafford right now. It's very strong, harmonious kind of belief system there, and the players are playing well, man.
Let's talk goalkeepers. Your favourite topic, Marcel. Let's talk goalkeepers, because goodbye Dubravka, hello Butland. You've got a new hero, Marcel. You've got new warm-ups to watch. Yes, new warm-ups to watch, new heroes to admire, that being Jack Butland. Fabrizio Romano tweeted late last night, Manchester United have completed the signing of Jack Butland. Done and now sealed. An official announcement is expected today. As of right now, I don't think we've got it just yet. But the English goalkeeper joins on loan from Crystal Palace. There is no buy option. The medical is already done. The Man United goalkeepers will be David De Gea, Jack Butland, and Tom Heaton. Again, I think Butland has 6 months left on his Palace contract. So even though it's a loan, he will become a free agent in the summer. And then I guess if things go well, United might decide to sign him. But there is no buy option. So we'll have to wait and see when it comes to that. Marcel, what are your thoughts on this? Again, you were a proponent of Martin Dubravka. Shockingly, you were a proponent for Martin Dubravka. Is this going to be? Are we going to get the Marcel madness? That's the real question. Are we going to get Jack Butland? I'm telling you, Owen, Jack Butland, he should get an opportunity between the sticks for Manchester United, PLC, Manchester United Football Club. That's what it should be.
So no, you're not. I think I have to give respect to the legend that is, the club legend that is David De Gea right now. He's playing good football. He's playing really good football, and that's credit to Ten Hag, of course. Because honestly, I think last season he was well below par. I know people disagree with that, but he was extremely below par for me. And even at the beginning of the season, I can remember people coming in leaps and bounds to me saying, "Okay, you're right by the looks of it. You're right. But he's come on leaps and bounds, and the performances that he's given now, these are clearly second choice. The likes of Dubravka, the likes of Jack Butland. These are clearly second choice goalkeepers at the moment. They're not going to surpass what he's producing right now, and that's clear to see to me now. And I have to respect what he's producing. I can only support, and I want to support every single player. And he's one of them that I'm doing brilliantly. Wolves, big points, big moments for him. And then again in the next game, big moments and securing points for us, man. And clean sheets, which is just breeds good habits. And if we can continue giving those good habits, if we can continue producing that, there's nothing I can really say. I can only leap praise onto him and make sure that and hope that he continues to play well. He's been fantastic. So I would just say though, Jack Butland doesn't strike me as somebody that will help revolutionize the club. I still feel like at some point, at some stage, David De Gea has to go. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the full set of abilities required. But right now, you can't look past him. And if he's taking that shorter wage, is something that I also was speaking to as well. I was always saying that he needs to be on a lower wage. You can't be that goalkeeper paying the best of the best when you're nowhere near it, in my opinion. But for this team, he's been an absolute leader. He's got a very good relationship with the likes of Martinez and Varane. You can see that partnership there. and they've been a fantastic defensive unit. So I can only be happy for him right now. I'm very happy for him, especially considering the performances against Brentford at the beginning of the season, shocking performances. And he comes out in the media and admits it straight away. He says, "Listen, look, I wasn't good enough. This was my fault," and he's come back around, man. So very, very happy for him.
I almost want to do like a slow hand clap that builds into a standing ovation. Because Marcel's seen the light. That's what happens. Marcel, he's had a birthday. He's a year older. He's a year wiser. You know, he's starting to see things. He's starting to wean himself off the hopium, which is good. You were getting concerned for a minute there. Wow, Marcel is a changed man. He's a changed man. And in fairness to you, Marcel, you've always said, look, I'll give credit where credit's due. I'll give praise if I believe it's justified. And he is now giving the praise to David De Gea. When I saw that video, that fan view after the game against Bournemouth, and it said on there, De Gea, I'm sorry. I thought, wow, this is something. This is going to be something. And it wasn't even Flex that brought it up. You brought it up. You said, well, I've got to praise David De Gea because, and it was the key thing, it wasn't necessarily just the reflexes. It wasn't just the shot stop, was it? It was the distribution, to your point. You said, look, the distribution was very good, Flex. The distribution was good from David De Gea. I liked it. 30-yard passes. So, and I agree with you. I agree with you that when it comes to the wages, that is a problem. When you're talking about goalkeeper, 375K a week, that is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. And you are right. In terms of being the most complete goalkeeper in the world, David De Gea is not that. He is not the most complete goalkeeper in the world. But what he is good at and what he is doing for us at the moment is what he's done for a long, long time. That's make big saves when it matters. That's winning games, keeping points, keeping clean sheets. I mean, you can look at the game against Bournemouth, made 3 quality saves. Look at the game at Wolves. Arguably, we won that game because David De Gea makes that save in the last minute from the corner. And to your point, there had been issues over the distribution. Still not perfect. He will still do the wayward pass, but still a lot of goalkeepers as well, by the way. But his starting position has improved. And if he wants to stay on a lower wage, then it becomes the question of actually, of all the people that we're looking at and we could bring in who's available, is anyone actually a better option than David De Gea?
That's a really good question.
Or are we just looking at getting a player because, we're just going to get a new player, shiny toy?
That's a good question, and you have to taper. I have to taper that expectation as well, because if it's a fair wage where you're looking at anywhere of the region 175, 252, you've really brought it back down, and then you put him maybe further down the list of priorities because he's got a good relationship with that back four. That back four, anyone that comes in there, he's always part of it, and they've been so solid, man. It's been very, very good. That you think of Ten Hag as a huge risk taker and a forward-thinking manager. I love the way that he likes to construct his attacks, but the defense right now has been brilliant, and he's part of that. That defensive unit for me always includes a goalkeeper and how they negotiate spaces. So he's been brilliant, man, and you maybe put him maybe 6th or 7th down the list now. We need more forwards. We need more defenders in the fullback positions and higher quality ones. And then you need more midfielders, man. So I think, you maybe give him the season for sure next season, and then maybe review it next season. And if it makes sense, then maybe it's 2 seasons. But definitely next season, I don't think you touch him. And if he can keep playing well, I think hopefully he's part of the team again for tonight and going forward, because we're going to need him in the bigger games.
And as things stand at the moment, looks like you're going to be wearing that David De Gea kit come the end of the summer, right?
Is that for Harry Kane? Because I was going to wear it anyway because he's been playing that well, and I've been on him. I've been on De Gea, and he doesn't deserve it of late, for sure. So I was going to wear it anyway, but I think Harry Kane comes in, but that's another argument for another day.
That's another, yeah, exactly. Marcel's on a good run at the moment. He knows he's talking sense at the moment. We don't need any of the Marcel opium at this point. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Still got nearly 1,100 people watching. If half of everyone likes now, would be like 600 likes. So it's possible. It's free. Yeah. So click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right hand corner. Let's have a see what some of the people in the chat are saying. Shavden says, "Yo, Owen, where's Marcel and who's this guy?" I don't even know who it is anymore. You've changed, Marcel. Who's this guy? I don't know. Doesn't look like it's Marcel. Ed says Marcel is finally out of the mud, and then also uses the flip-flop emoji. Pyramid says 200K max for David De Gea. Sim says that Henderson is out on loan on 120K a week, saying actually in the summer if he could go, could free up some money there. That's true, actually, as well. Yeah. A super chat from Manage says, if we don't get players in January, I don't think we'll get top 4. Forget about the title race. There are too many games. Do you think our top 4 hopes rely on January business, or are we proving at the moment that it is possible.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Unfortunately, I really do, because let's just see what happened. I think it's very, very poignant what you were saying before. It's very important to just see what happens through the story of January window. It's going to be a juggle in January. You know what's going to happen? Rotation of players. Our players coming in. Big two football matches back to back. Arsenal and Man City. And then after that, you got Barcelona around the corner, depending on how the condition of the likes of Ericsson is. You know, he's coming off every 60 minutes now. You know, he's not playing the full 90s. He's just not got the legs for it. So, you know, we need maybe Scott McTominay to make a resurgence. But Casemiro's playing 9 and 10 out of 10s every game right now. So, you know, it depends what happens, and we need to make sure everyone stays fit. But one more footballer needs to come in. I mean, Jack's not going to get games against this kind of De Gea. De Gea right now is doing a madness, so you can't really consider that as a player coming in. You know, for me, you need a forward line player. You know, Thuram, Makoko from Dortmund is a fantastic footballer. Um, you know, I know Abubakar's the long shot, but even if it's Giroud, I would happily just take a Giroud just to rotate the team and get another footballer in that can. For me, I know you're saying you wouldn't want anyone in, but I'm very much closer to saying just get somebody in, Owen.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm opposed to getting anyone in. It's just I feel like it has to be the right move, and I do think the ones we've been linked to, I do think they're positive moves, and they could be done. I think they're feasible. Um, I think you've also got to be conscious about thinking somewhat long term, which is difficult for a short term deal. I think that is fair. Um, Ed says, I doubt David De Gea is willing to take a more than 20 to 30% pay cut. Vegeta says, Marcel finally took the L's and turned them into a W. Mars W. There you go. What else is people saying here? Shallow Boy Comics says, are there any New Year's resolutions in the chat? Mine's to eat green veggies every day. Have you got any New Year's resolutions, Marcel? Is that what you do?
Just to call, I've got a list of people that I'm trying to call at least maybe once, and you're on that list, mate. But just once every 3 months. Once every 3
I don't
months.
pick up the phone. I don't talk to anyone on the phone.
Well, I'm going to be calling you in the next 3 months. I just want to maybe just speak to more people often, that kind of thing. It was a small
nice
thing,
one.
but you know, you need to have more calls and check in on people. Check in for people. That's what you got.
Exactly.
Do.
That's a very see. This is the thing with Marcel. He will kill you with kindness. He's a very nice guy. People can say the Marcel, the De Gea agenda or anything like that. Marcel's real. I never pick up the phone as well. I'm terrible.
I'll voice note you. I'll voice note you then.
I'm all right with a voice note. I'm the complete opposite of KG. KG, to contact him, you have to call him. Otherwise, he will not. He doesn't do voice notes or whatever. I'm the opposite. I don't do phone calls. I'll do voice notes. I can be quick on voice notes, but no. But New Year's resolutions for me, got to exercise a bit more, and a bit pudgy. I
think Josh and Fleck are doing diet right now. They're doing calorie counting.
They did that last year. Is that true, Josh? Is that happening at the moment? It is. Right. I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me? I'd have been doing the same. They're lying to me. That's the problem. I've got to wait. January the 10th. But yes, I think that's everyone's got. Let us know your New Year's resolutions in the chat as well. Turned into a bit of a morning show. It's like being on the BBC or something like that. Let's talk a little bit about the summer transfers as well, because we're not just getting reports about January moves. We're also getting moves about talks that are happening now for the summer. And one potentially, according to the Mail, Dan Matthews is reporting in Mail Sports, that Manchester United are eyeing a possible move for AS Monaco centre-back Axel Disasi at the end of the season. Initial negotiations have taken place with United. In terms of his sort of stats, he's 24 years of age. He's played for France 3 times, played for the under-20s France team 3 times as well. As mentioned, currently at Monaco, has been there since 2020. Do you think we need another sort of young centre-back, Marcel? Or is it even actually, this is probably a better question, is that more of an indicator for someone like Harry Maguire's future? If United are looking at a young centre-back, does that imply that the expectation is that he might actually go in the summer?
Yeah, I would like him to go now. You know, we're talking about having money available to get footballers in. I think, you know, you get rid of Maguire now in this window at a cut price to Aston Villa for 30 million, for 40 million. You do good to get 50 and 60 million, but 30 million, 25 million, I would happily get rid of him out of the club as soon as possible. In terms of the player that you're talking about, I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to claim to know anything about the player. No, what I would say though is Bashir, as I think his name is Bashir, he's potentially moving to Chelsea. He's never Monaco.
He was there last night. He was sitting with Todd Bowley in the stands. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he's a fantastic player. I've seen a lot of videos of him, and then when I was watching, I think I've watched 1 or 2 Monaco games this season. He looks like a very good footballer, and he's a young centre back as well himself. So there are centre backs out there, Skriniar as well, Gravido, who I really liked, even though he got ripped by Messi in the World Cup. He's a very good. He's a very good centre back, expensive as well, but we do need to go and get reinforcements, and I think Maguire's just is proven now. It's very clear for us to see. Even at home when we're and he's in the comfort of the 75,000, he just doesn't have the level.
Yeah, I mean, and also as well, I think once again we were praising Ten Hag this morning, but it just goes to show again why he deserves praise. That when I remember his first press conference, because we covered it here, and he was asked about Harry Maguire, and the expectation I think from all of us was, oh, he's going to come in and say, "Haven't made my mind up. I'm going to select my own captain." Blah blah blah. And he said, "Look, Harry Maguire is the established captain. He's the club captain." Everyone went, here we go again.
Mm.
Another puppet manager, another one that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
get it, another one doesn't understand. Because he also praised Maguire, said, look, he's achieved a lot in his career. He's a good defender. And again, everyone went, oh, another one that doesn't get it. Clearly, Erik ten Hag gets it. He brought in a centre back in the summer because he saw that we needed it. The two centre backs that are starting centre back is a World Cup winning pair of centre backs, one for France, one for Argentina. Martinez is coming to United and been a revelation. I think it's fair to say he's one of the best centre backs in the league, easy, despite the people doubting him. And I think Ten Hag sees the limitations of Harry Maguire. And again, that's not like an agenda to say he's a bad player, because I don't think Harry Maguire's a really bad player. Harry Maguire, you can win games of Harry Maguire, but are you going to win trophies with Harry Maguire? Probably the answer there is no. Harry Maguire, in terms of a top player, isn't that. And he certainly is not a Manchester United captain-like figure. He's not a leader. He brings sort of chaos to the pitch, actually, and uncertainty when he does play. He's not that sort of calming, composed influence. Not to say that Bruno Fernandes is, but he's a leader in a different way. And he's,
yeah,
as he mentions, that's just his natural personality. And again, I credit Ten Hag for the way he's been able to sort of maneuver this, because he's found a way of appointing a new captain without actually stripping the previous captain. Because technically Maguire's still the club captain, but Bruno's really the captain. Everyone knows it. But
yeah.
just on paper, it's one of those situations. And look, Bruno being the most often the captain on the pitch has been a revelation for him, because I think it's improved his performances too.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of goal contributions, maybe not so much, but he's still very effective. And I was talking about Bruno being captain. I feel like I was one of the first people to say it, at the beginning of the season, that he's just the way he plays the game is passionate for the club, and he still contributes in a massive way. He's had to change his style of football, of course, Bruno, but in terms of Maguire, it's been very difficult for him to change his style of football, especially the style that we want to embark on now. He just doesn't have the attributes for it. It's clear for everyone to see. He's hindering us. And then when you got the Rolls Royce Varane that's able to sweep in the way that he does, has the recovery pace, has the better connection between obviously De Gea and Martinez as well. Can't wait to see Martinez come back in the team. And you can see he's getting displaced. And then there's Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's playing well at centre back. Luke Shaw's playing well at centre back. Lindelof's playing okay there. So you've got other players to replace Maguire right now, and he's just surplus to requirements. It's very easy to see. Last season, poor interviews after games, had very bad interviews, and we're looking for him to be a leader. And you can see Bruno Fernandes after games this season and last season. He just strikes me more as a leader of the team. So I think it's inevitable, and I think it should happen actually now. We should be really looking at making that move now and utilizing those funds to help us push for that top four, or secure it for sure anyway.
Yeah, I think that it might just be too much for United to do in this window, especially with all of the lack of money that we have. I get your point that by selling Maguire, we could then get in a striker, but then also we'd have to be looking at getting another centre back, I suppose, as well. You don't want to leave yourself too short there. Just some news that's breaking in the last couple of minutes as well. I can see it to the left of me here. It's been reported that former Chelsea player, manager, Gianluca Vialli has passed away at the age of 58. Obviously, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2017. And he was actually part of the backroom staff of the Italy European Championship winning team a couple of years ago. As part of Roberto Mancini's backroom staff there. So really sad news. especially when someone passes away so young. 58 years of age in today's day and age is
Wow.
way too young.
Yeah.
And a fantastic player, ball accounts, a great person as well. Was a little bit before my time, you know. I more associate him. I saw a lot of his punditry work, and again, him being in the backroom staff for the Italy team at the Euros. But a real fantastic player as well. I know Chelsea fans really like him, and the fact actually that he was involved with that. That Italy side at the Euros was a big story too, because again, he was diagnosed back in 2017, and you know, he was on the winning side for his country in the dugout. Even that was a fantastic story, and they said at the time that he was almost like the heartbeat of that squad. And obviously, from an English point of view, we were all devastated by the result, but a fantastic story for them. And again, one of the greats. He'll certainly be missed. Some really sad news there. Breaking again. There had been some reports about his health, I think, in the last few days, but yeah, only 58, certainly no age. So thoughts and condolences go to his family, friends, fans as well. A real bit of sad news there. Just to steer it back, Marcel, to transfers then. So we're saying, again, when it comes to a summer move for Disasi, do you think we might see more of this kind of reporting later on for this window? We're only 6 days into January. Do we think we might see more of what United are looking to do in the summer, considering there is just, again, hardly any money for us in January?
Yeah, yeah. You know, they just we are one the biggest. We're one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the world. So there's always going to be speculation around this time for us and transfer windows. That's expected. But also, you know, this window, this summer window that's coming is there's a lot of players that I'm seeing that are free agents. One or two players that maybe have a bit of quality to them that are actually free agents, or they've got 6 months left, and there's opportunity to negotiate. So I think there's that as well lingering as well. So potential to get someone on a good price as well, like how we got Ericsson, you know, unearthed a very affordable gem. So I think there'll be another one of those as well. And I think Ten Hag's not afraid to go into the market, the free agent market, and get somebody on a good price. So that there's that to look at as well, and that makes sense.
And it's just, we keep saying this, it's just so difficult, isn't it? It's so difficult to think what is going to happen in the summer because we don't know what United's going to look like. We have no idea what United are going to look like in terms of new ownership. What you can say, certainly, and maybe this does tie into the January window, is that considering top four is really, truly on for United this season, if we can finish in the top four and we do have the opportunity to say to these potential players that are available in the summer, we've got Champions League football, we've got new owners, so we're more stable than we were previously, we've got more money depending on who these new owners are, but certainly the ability to spend will be there, and maybe even sort of astronomically even higher than was even previously considered through investment from the owners themselves. Anything's possible, right? You know, you want to have the strongest hand possible, and you know, and we've said with Ten Hag this season, imagine if he actually gets given the tools. What can he build if he's given the tools that he actually wants? And by finishing the top four, maybe by strengthening in January, we can strengthen even more in the summer, right?
Yep. You know, I'm believing a little bit of a project Mbappe. If you get the right owners in, I
Marcel,
have to
we
say
can't
it.
get
I
Kylian
have to say
Mbappe.
it. I have to say it. You know, he loves Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, he's an admirer of Cristiano Ronaldo. And what happens if he follows his story arc and tries to better it? You know, maybe does 2-3 years at us and leaves at 25, 26 to go Real Madrid. But, you know, the number 7 shirt is still left there waiting for somebody, waiting for an enigmatic world-class superstar to take it on. And Mbappe fits that mold and beyond. So, you know, if the right owners come in, the right ambitious owners come in, there's no way that I look past that possibility. You know, it's affordable. He's got predicaments obviously at PSG where he's not comfortable with, and we can take advantage of that. He's an absolute world-class superstar that can win you football matches, and who wouldn't want to take him?
Did you say Kylian Mbappe was affordable?
Well, in the realms of, you know, a new consortium.
How much would Kylian Mbappe go for, do you think? I mean, he signed was it a 3-year deal with PSG last year, whatever it was? How much? Let us know in the chat as well. How much is Kylian Mbappe worth? If we were to buy him in the summer, how much are we spending?
Well, the last time I gave you a broad estimate, I said Maguire, and he was like, "That's too big." I said something like 20 to 60 million. He was like, "That's too big." I'm gonna do something similar again, so forgive me, but I would say 160 to maybe 260, something in that region there. I wouldn't go beyond it. Maybe 220 max, but it's got to be
You
in
might
there
be right. I
somewhere.
mean, Let's see what the chat's saying. Dilver says 150 million. Compost says 250 million. Cab says 157. It's very specific, that number.
Yeah, innit?
um, look, 250 million. How was that?
It's what
That was our transfer spend this summer. You know, I mean, I guess in that space, it's technically possible if you said we're only going to sign Kylian Mbappe. We spent 250 million in the summer. Our one signing is him for 250 million. Technically, that would be possible, but at the same time, that's a crazy one. And we need more. We can't get, and this would be a key thing for the new owners, you would say, especially if they don't have a lot of footballing experience, whatever. You see like Todd Boehly has been doing, right, where he comes in and he thinks he's in the NBA and he's signing people to 7.5-year contracts, franchise model, NBA kind of settings, right? You would say to the new football owners that come in, if you don't have experience in football, don't just think we're going to buy Kylian Mbappe 250 million, we're going to win the league. No. We need way more than that. And we need to spread those funds around a bit better. We do need a striker, probably need another midfielder. You'd say probably need another winger at some point, probably on the right-hand side, centre back, right back. There are like 4 or 5 positions we need improving. Don't go down what these new owners always do when they just get into football and they go, I'm just going to throw a ton of money at one player. I've signed Kylian Mbappe. Great. But what else have we got? We can't, Marcel.
Now, well, you're right. We can't, but and I think Ten Hag is somebody that maybe doesn't go into and get the big player. He wants to get 3 or 4 to build a strong side. He's most probably still, obsessed with the Frankie de Jong situation. I think we were speaking about Mane, fantastic player as well. And Mbappe-esque, if you could even dare say something like that. But there's a lot of other players in the market that you could maybe get for your 250 million. But in terms of commercial, which I think we always obsess with at this club, you always want somebody that's going to be able to get the shirts flying off the shelf. And Mbappe does that and scores goals and wins games and is consistent. And I think you got to look at that, man. And I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm saying as Manchester United, if we want to say we're one of the biggest clubs in the world, we have to go and look at some of the biggest talents in the world. The team across the road on the east side of Manchester are doing that. And of course they're in a privileged position. They get to pluck one player every season now because of the way it's been a well-oiled machine, and then years ahead of the process. But if you get the right kind of backing in, we've already got a good base. We're a massive entity, global entity already. They need to do a lot with the stadium. They need to do a lot with the women's team. They need to do a lot with the local area and improve the local area around as well, which is going to cost a lot of money. But that's a lot easier done once you get trophies in the door. And Mbappe can ensure that, I think. So, yes, it's a big task. I agree with you. It's a massive task. But I think Ten Hag anyway, if you ask me what Ten Hag does, I think he does go for the 80 million players, 2 or 3 80 million pound players come through the door,
I think if the new owners come in and their first mindset is to think commercial, I think we have a bit of a problem on our hands, because that's been the Man United mindset for the past 15 plus years. It's all commercial,
Yeah.
I think to your point, I think it has to be, who does Ten Hag want? And I'm sure Ten Hag would probably want a Kylian Mbappe. Who wouldn't? But at the same point, I think to your point, he might want to be looking at these sort of younger players for a bit of a lesser fee, going, okay, let's develop them more, a bit lesser known players on the rise than all of these sort of franchise marquee names. Despite the fact, look, we did spend that on people like Casemiro, so it can work out eventually, but we'll wait and see. V33 says, Martin back to Newcastle at this point wouldn't allow them to inside info to Erik ten Hag's tactical and strategy, especially that both clubs aim for top 4, saying that maybe implying that Dubravka was a snitch. He was a snake. He was a leak. Oh, how dare you? How dare you in Marcel's presence? But there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. As I mentioned, still nearly 1,300 people watching. On the way out, let's see if we can get 500 likes. Why not? Anything's possible. This morning, we've got a lot of positivity, Marcel. Just briefly, of course, is match day today. So there's going to be full match day settings. There's going to be a road trip on the road to Old Trafford. There's going to be the match view with KG and myself. There's going to be all of the reaction outside Old Trafford too. I'm sure you'll give this a bit later on in the day, Marcel. But what's your prediction for this evening quickly? You going to give us a score?
3-0 Manchester United Football Club.
PLC.
PLC.
Yeah, confident. I'm with you. I think I said 3-0 yesterday as well. So there you go. But there you go, guys. That's the latest Manchester United transfer news for you in today's transfer review. Tomorrow we'll be back once again, 9 a.m. with the latest United transfer news. Also tomorrow will be match day reloaded. People have commented on the studio. A few tweaks have been made. Oh, you'll have to tune in and see that. Yes. But plenty of coverage coming soon. Remember, smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. You can join the membership too. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. We're out of here. We'll speak for you again very soon. Peace.